Kansas City. If you didn't know, Kansas City is two cities in two states. So this is Kansas City, Missouri. This is Kansas City, Kansas. This also leans a lot more liberal. But once you get up here to Platte County over here and Clay County over here, people lean a lot more conservative. And if you get way outside the metro, way up here to Plattsburgh, way out here to Atchison, then people lean a lot more conservative. Over here on the Kansas side, most of Johnson County, I would say, leans conservative, although in this map it's actually trending kind of almost purplish, almost bluish now. And then yeah, if you get out here to Belton, Raymore, Holden, Warrensburg, way out here, which is, you know, barely Kansas City anymore, then definitely a lot more conservative. Over here, this kind of blue swath is Lawrence. It's a college town, so those tend to lean more liberal as well. But here's a kind of pretty accurate political map of just where people lean in their politics in Kansas City. So all this to say is, if you follow a certain political party, whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you lean one way or the other, you may want to know this, especially if you value living near people with your same political beliefs. Now, what I will say this, after almost 5 years of living here in Kansas City, if you are a consistently kind, warm, welcoming person who can articulate your beliefs well and disagree well, Kansas City is going to be a friendly place to you, no matter where your religious or political beliefs lie. I am a Christian. You know, I lean conservative. I definitely have a lot of talks with my neighbors. I live in Jackson County, and most of them have very different religious and political beliefs than our family does, but we have very pleasant interactions with them because I just think that we can convey our beliefs in a way that is non-threatening and consistently kind, and we've never had a blow up or any kind of heated argument or anything like that over political beliefs or anything. So I will say that no matter where you lean, just come here, be a kind person, and you'll be okay. Okay, so the last one also requires a map, and that is, a lot of people when they come here, they don't expect the city to be, in their words, as segregated as it is. Let me show you a map of where different races are in Kansas City. Again, as a realtor, I don't want to violate any fair housing laws. I'm just kind of showing you what the lay of the land is and what I've heard from different people. So let me pull up this map before we get to this crazy story about us calling 911 for the first time, and I'll show you kind of what people mean when they say they don't expect Kansas City to be as segregated as it actually is. So here is a map of the different races and where they live in Kansas City. The green is African American, the blue is Caucasian, the yellow is Hispanic, and the red is Asian. Okay, so just let me give you a quick overview. A lot south of the river and on the Missouri side is going to be primarily African American. And this is true. It's not that there's no white people here, but there's going to be a larger congregation of African Americans below the river, and there's a whole history on why this is so. There was Kansas City has a really ugly history of redlining, where at some point in time, if you were any person of color, they kind of wouldn't give you loans outside of certain areas. We can talk about that later, but that's kind of why a lot of these races kind of congregate in these areas. It's not necessarily because they want to, and of course this isn't saying that there's no like white people in these primarily black areas or vice versa. What I will say is that there was a really ugly history of redlining, so a lot of the African American people are going to be congregating right here in Jackson County. Johnson County over here, Overland Park, Shawnee, Lenexa is going to be primarily Caucasian. North of the river is going to be primarily Caucasian as well. And then you can see that this is very accurate. Kansas City, Kansas, there's a lot of Hispanic and black people there. And also in the northeast part of Kansas City, there's going to be quite a few Hispanic, quite a few black people here. And also in Independence, there's going to be some pockets of Hispanic people. The one thing I don't agree with is that this lake right here in Blue Springs and Lee Summit, this is not like highly Asian. I don't know. I think it might be like a per capita map where maybe there's like a few Asian families living here and they think it's all Asian because it's just so sparsely populated. But I can tell you, I've been down to these lakes. It's mostly Caucasian. There's not like an Asian encampment there. Yeah, and there are pockets of Asian people in Overland Park. Really good Asian food kind of down here. So this map is pretty accurate. But a lot of people when they move here, they don't necessarily expect the type of racial segregation because they're just not used to it where they come from. Okay, so back to the story about the first time we had to call 911. When we lived in California, I had to call 911 maybe twice. My sister used to have this issue where she would get